Okay, we were doing the chapter of transport in mammals, and in today's lesson, we have to look on the blood vessels. Blood vessels are tubular structures which are carrying blood from and towards the heart. Heart is a pumping organ, we all know that, and it is not only sending the blood to the rest of the body but also towards the lungs, and comprising of two circulations, a systemic and pulmonary circulation. Let's see this in detail. The blood vessels are of three types: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and veins are the blood vessel that carry blood towards the heart. So capillaries actually make a junction between these two. The blood vessels are a network of tubes to carry blood around the body. Again, in the diagram, I have tried to show you the same. Keep in mind that the largest artery is aorta, which branches to give many arteries. Arteries branches to give arterioles. Arterioles will give off a network of smaller tube-like structures called capillaries. These capillaries will rejoin to form venules. Venules will rejoin to form veins, which will carry the blood towards the heart. Inferior and superior vena cava are the largest veins. We will come back to the structure and for the function towards this slide again. But for now, you should know the placement of these vessels throughout our body. Arteries would be nearer to the heart. They would have higher pressure since they are quite nearer to the heart. Veins are superficial, that we can see on over our skin, while capillaries are microscopic in nature. We can't see them usually from our naked eye. But sometimes if you have visualized that, we can see small capillaries going through our eyes. This is the real diagram of aorta, which is the largest artery. You can see it has a quite thicker, stronger walls and a comparatively a small lumen or internal diameter. So let's discuss them one by one. First, let's discuss the artery. The structure of the artery is quite muscular. The walls of it are quite muscular and elastic so that they can withstand the high blood pressure. I told you just now that arteries are the blood vessel that take blood from the heart. So when the blood is pumped, it is at quite much force or pressure. So to withstand that high blood pressure, the walls of the arteries must be thick and elastic, and this elasticity actually enables artery wall to stretch and recoil, and they do not contain the valves. Function, on the other hand, the artery's function is to carry oxygenated blood, except for pulmonary artery. This artery is responsible for carrying deoxygenated blood. This pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood, unlike all other arteries which carry oxygenated blood, and this blood is carried away from the heart at a higher pressure. If you can see the diagram here, the lumen is quite smaller, comparatively smaller than the lumen of the vein. The outer layer or the outer wall is quite thick, muscular and elastic. So this is the structure of the vein. It is relatively thin, less muscular walls, and there are valves present in it. The valves are responsible for the unidirectional flow of blood. I mean to say that these valves prevent the backflow of blood. If you know that the veins have quite less blood pressure, so this less blood pressure may cause backflow of blood, which is prevented by these valves which are present in the veins. The function of the veins is to carry deoxygenated blood, except for pulmonary vein. This pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. Rest of the veins carry deoxygenated blood, and they take that blood towards the heart at a lower blood pressure. So this is the structure of valves. To make you understand that what happens is that since the blood pressure in the veins is quite low, a series of valves are there, And also there is contraction of skeletal muscles around the veins to ensure that the blood flows towards the heart, towards one direction only. Skeleton muscles and the function of the valves is elaborated in this animation, where you can see that the skeleton muscles are contracting and relaxing, pushing the blood in forward direction, while the shape of these valves, which are also known as semilunar valves, are closing and opening to let the blood flow in one direction. As soon as the blood comes back or it backflows, the valves close to prevent the backflow of the blood. So these two actions, the contraction and relaxation of the muscles, the skeleton muscles, and the presence of the semilunar valves in the veins, ensure that the blood goes in one direction and never flows back. What about the structure of capillary? The wall of the capillary is one cell thick and has a partially permeable cells. So we know now that the wall of the capillary is permeable, unlike that of artery and vein. It has no muscles or elastic tissue in them. So the elasticity and muscularity of the capillary wall is quite less compared to veins and arteries. The function of the capillaries is to transfer oxygen and food from arteries to the surrounding cells by allowing these to diffuse across the wall. When the word food comes, you must label them as glucose, amino acid, vitamins, many mineral ions. It not only transfers these nutrient molecules and oxygen, but it also transfers carbon dioxide and other waste substances, including urea, from cells to the veins. To understand the function of the capillary, see here that the artery is giving off the blood at arteriolar end. This arteriole is dividing into numerous capillary, which we call capillary bed. It is this point where the exchange of material takes place. The food or the nutrient molecules would come into the tissue cells at which these capillaries are being placed. On the other hand, the excretory product or the waste product comes out of the cells which are respiring, and they come into the capillary. The capillaries will then form a bigger vessel, which we are calling as venule. Venule will rejoin to form bigger veins. Here again I have tried to show you how the exchange of material takes place between the tissues and between the capillary. If you can see here that the capillary is containing blood, and the movement of the dissolved oxygen and other food substances, including glucose and amino acid, is coming from the capillary into the respiring cells of the tissue, while the excretory products, which include urea and carbon dioxide, is going from the respiring cells into the capillary. And you can also see that there is a white blood cell being shown here in this diagram, which is squeezing out of the capillary wall. So here you must learn that the capability of WBC to come out of the capillary is of quite importance, since it has to travel towards the infection site. If they would be traveling in the capillary and are not able to come out, they would never reach the infection site efficiently. So here again I have shown you that how arterioles are dividing into numerous capillaries, which are carrying the oxygenated blood along with the nutrient molecules and then rejoining to form venules, and venules alternatively forming a bigger vein. This animation is again showing you how there is a gradual increase in the carbon dioxide concentration in the capillary bed. If you see that the oxygenated blood is coming from the arteriolar end, then the exchange of material or the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place at this site, where the cells will give off carbon dioxide to the capillary. On the other hand, the good things, the food molecules, the oxygen would come from the capillary into the tissue cells. And once the blood is going towards the venule, you can see that the carbon dioxide concentration has been increased here, since it is shown by the color blue. On the other hand, a bright red color is indicating you the presence of oxygenated blood. Here again, I have summarized the structure of arteries, veins, and capillaries. You can see that the arteries are thick, muscular, and elastic walls, and they can withstand high blood pressure in the artery. Valves are not present here, same as the case with the capillaries where valves are absent. Veins have thin, slightly muscular, and have less elastic tissue in their walls, and valves are present here. The capillary walls are quite thin. They have a single layer of cells. They are non-muscular and elastic, less elastic, and have a selectively permeable membrane. This differences show you that only at capillary level, at the point of capillary, the exchange of material can take place. It can never be taking place at arteries or at vein end. This is the summarization of the function of these blood vessels. Arteries are responsible for transport of oxygenated blood away from the heart, except for pulmonary artery and umbilical artery that you will read in later chapters. On the other hand, the veins carry deoxygenated blood towards the heart, except pulmonary vein and umbilical vein, which again I will going to teach you that in later chapters. Capillaries are allowing the exchange of substances between the blood and the tissue fluid.